Old friend Jalen Ramsey could be on the trade block. Should the Rams bring back the former All-Pro cornerback? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramley, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube. If you haven't yet, do us a huge favor. Join the party. Get close to 17,000 subscribers. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've been covering LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation. And as always, I'm joined by the Rams pre, half, and post-game show host from the Rams flagship radio station, ESPN 710 LA. He's entering his 10th season covering your Los Angeles Rams. The People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers. You can follow him on X at Travis Rogers. And on today's episode, should the Rams consider bringing back Jalen Ramsey? Also, we've got the make or break Rams for the 2025 season, and also the best first round picks. So we did the bus. Who's the best first round picks? But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. All right, Travis. So we've kind of romanticized about Jalen Ramsey pretty much ever since he's been gone. Anytime we need to bring up what it looks like when the Rams have had elite cornerback play and just impact secondary players, he's kind of the first name that comes up. Well, Jalen Ramsey could be hitting the trade block once again. Ian Rappaport tweeted out, the Dolphins and 7-time Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey are mutually set to explore trade options, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he played elsewhere in 2025. Per me and Tom Pelissaro, Miami and Ramsey are due $25.1 million, fully guaranteed this season. Could be parting ways. So before we kind of get into kind of the logistics of what it would mean to bring him back and its impact on just kind of the team overall, as a player, I mean, the cornerback position is one where you kind of fall off the cliff sooner than other positions, but it is Jalen Ramsey, a guy that a generational talent, as they say, that gets thrown out a little too much in my opinion, but for him, it definitely applies.
Yeah, no, he's probably going to go to the Hall of Fame. He's that good of a player, or at least was that good of a player. I think you mentioned it yesterday, Doug, that one of the things that the Rams really need is playmakers on that side of the ball. It's guys that can take the ball away, guys that can make big impact plays. That's something that Jalen Ramsey has been able to do for his entire career. The question is, can he still do it? Is he still somebody that can perform at that particular level? That number that you threw out there, money-wise, is big. And at that price, you're going to still have to perform at a very high level. So I don't know if there's a way to negotiate some of that stuff down. But just as an idea, it's interesting. I know he was popular in the building. I know that he was a guy that was pretty good at setting an example, pretty good at playing hard and doing all the right things. You know, kind of an outspoken guy, which the Rams typically don't do a lot of, but he seemed to really thrive here in LA. And it's an interesting idea. At that price, I think is where it gets a little bit more complicated, but just as an idea and maybe as an older veteran player that could kind of set a tone, it's intriguing for sure. It's just how much gas does he have left in that tank, I think, is the great unknown.
So that is the big question. Just how good of a player is he? Are you getting a Pro Bowl, an all-pro level player? And I think you look at what he did last season. He was the 10th highest graded cornerback overall. He had 2 interceptions. He allowed 2 touchdowns in coverage. He allowed 546 yards. That was not great, but the versatility is still there. He still can blitz. He can still go and stop the run and make big tackles. His pass rush grade was 76.5. The run defense at 85.7. And I think for me, what I look at is, one, it's not going to cost you a first-round pick. You're probably looking at a third-round pick. And then 2, if you kind of look at how this impacts you financially, well, according to Spotrac, it'd be a $21.1 million commitment for 1 year, kind of all things considered. Because you look at his contract, he signed a 3-year, $72.3 million extension. and that doesn't start until 2026 with a $16.67 million cap hit in 2025. So it'll go up for the next 3 years. But really, you look at the deal they just signed with Davante Adams, and this deal, I mean, really, you can almost look at it as a one-year deal. So if you're all in for 2025 and you're not guaranteed 2 years out of Stafford, Ramsey, or even Davante Adams, I say all gas, no brakes. Go all in. I don't see why not.
Yeah, it's an interesting way. It's an interesting way to look at it, and I think that they're obviously the reward is very obvious that Davante Adams hits and hits big. That Matthew Stafford is still operating at a high level, elite quarterback. One of the best in the business, and Jalen Ramsey shows up and picks off a couple of passes and kind of changes the back half of your defense in a meaningful way. Where I get a little bit like, okay, is when you got a bunch of, hey, why not on one team, that's risky, because if one or two of the, hey, why nots doesn't work out, okay. But when you start having 3, 4, 5, hey, why nots, and half of them don't hit, now all of a sudden you don't have a very good team and you got a lot of money tied up. Now, I guess what you got to think about is, what are we trying to do here as an organization? Is it literally just we're going to shoot every single shot we have in 2025 to try to go back to the Super Bowl, to try to beat Philadelphia or whoever might be in the way, and we'll figure out beyond 2025 after 2025? Why not? But if there's anything that you're trying to get set up beyond this year, when you start stacking up old, relatively expensive players, even if it's relatively short-term contracts, I don't know. This is one of these things where I need to know what he has left. And you don't know until you put him out there. A bunch of guys that, I think there's still a little bit left. It is a really scary thing to me. An old team is never something I want to be totally thrown in on. Now, they got a lot of good young players. You look at that, the front of that defense, it's nothing but good young players. But when you start having a bunch of guys like, I think there's a little bit left in there. I don't want more than one or two of those guys on my team. And the Rams already have one or two of those guys on the team. So I'd be a little hesitant to add more.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a risk there. I mean, I think if you look at it from the standpoint as, okay, if he comes in and he is an elite corner, that's the best case scenario. But he has shown the ability to play some safety throughout his career. And could you have a position change later in his career if the decline does happen? I'm sure that's something that at least you have in your back pocket to feel a little better about your investment. But it's tough to find elite corners. It's tough to find Super Bowl winning type of players. And if the Rams have all the chips pushed in the middle of the table for 2025, and this is certainly something that isn't as crazy as you would think, right? I mean, and let's do a little more LeVar Ball manifesting here and try to get him to the Rams. He did comment on Davante Adams' very latest IG post where Jalen Ramsey commented, "Gonna love everything about that organization and city. Sheesh, you blessed." And a little emoji like that.
Okay.
And then also he talked about the Rams organization when the Dolphins took on the Rams last season. He said, "I never got an opportunity to give a farewell gift to, the people out there. It's like a home to me. It's like a family. I've got some family out there. My daughter was born out there. Great memories out there. Everlasting memories of community, and always treated me and my family right. Nothing but love and respect." So, he says a lot of great things about LA and his time there. So I think the good thing is it doesn't feel like there's any burnt bridges.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't feel like, this was not a get this guy out of here before he burns the team to the ground. It wasn't that at all. Those quotes are interesting, that he clearly has a warm spot in his heart for his time here in LA. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I don't think it, but my only hesitation is that, and again, it doesn't set you back long term. It just could potentially be this season that we're all hoping to be very good could actually be not good at all. If a lot of these, hey, we think we got a little more, if a lot of them go wrong, now all of a sudden you're kind of in no man's land and you're just kind of lighting the season on fire, which, by the way, okay, like I don't mind the idea of going for it and missing. If you're going to go for it, sometimes it goes bad. Sometimes it goes like it went a few years ago where you win the Super Bowl. Sometimes it turns into a team that wins, 6 or 7 games. You're just like, yeah, we thought we had something. It turns out we weren't right. We got to start it over again. That's not the end of the world. He's a really specific presence. Like everything I've understood about Jalen Ramsey is he is he's there. He's in the room. That he is on your team, that he is a really specific presence, not in a negative way, but he is not just one of the guys. He is Jalen Ramsey, and you will know he's there. He's going to kind of do things the way that he believes things should be done, which usually is the right way. I'm intrigued by it. I'm curious to see whether the Rams are as well, because this is one that if you and I are doing this, the pod tomorrow, Doug, and it is a done deal, I think my answer would be like, okay, like, yeah, I don't hate it, but it's not like Devontae Adams where, hey, this is awesome, let's go do it. This would be more of a, yeah, okay, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, definitely bring up an interesting point. It does feel like there's certain players that have continuously worn out their welcomes with other organizations, kind of like the OBJs and guys like that just didn't do that with the Rams. I mean, that speaks to the Rams culture for sure. But I mean, let's not forget, Jalen Ramsey is that guy who back in 2016 with the Jaguars, when he wasn't happy with his contract, rolled up to the facility in a Brinks truck. So yeah, there is that. And I actually love that because I think certain guys, I'm like all in on superstars getting superstar treatments and having superstar behavior. But the thing is, there's only a couple of those guys really in the sports,
Yeah, he's not that anymore, right? Like he's still a good player in this league, but is he a super megastar the way he was? No. So, what exactly are you getting? I think that's the part that the Rams have to figure out.
Definitely agree. Coming up next, who are the make or break players for the Rams in 2025? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did it all go? Between eating out, online shopping, entertainment, it is pretty easy to lose track of your money. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's complete financial command center right at your fingertips. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Managing money with someone else, right? Your partner, your wife, whatever it may be, is smoother than ever. You can track your shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. And one of the things that I think is fantastic is you can, instead of kind of going back and forth between this bank, this investments, that investments, you can just use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan your long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year.
And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also, a special shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Cannot thank you enough. Now's the perfect time to join that Everyday Listeners Club. We're getting a lot of new podcast listeners, a lot of new viewers over on YouTube. Just lock in Monday through Friday, and you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. All right, Travis, picking up here in our second segment, we're going to talk about some breakout players, make or break years, really, for these guys in 2025. And I think this is linked to the draft, because if they don't hit on some of these positions, some of these guys are going to need to step up if the Rams are going to have the year they're hoping to have this upcoming season. And we're going to stay with the cornerback position and talk about Kobe Durant. So Kobe Durant is a player that, yes, he was a fourth-round pick, but they've kind of given him a runway as if he were a higher pick. They kind of felt highly about him early on, and he was kind of supposed to be that guy. I mean, even a couple years ago, he was in the star role under Raheem Morris, and they kind of switched it up a little bit on him. And this is a year where, hey, he could find himself an opportunity where they don't draft a cornerback, or kind of where he's at. He's going to get a chance to prove they can be that guy in the final year of his contract.
Yeah, I like how you said that. There are some guys that you're waiting to kind of blossom into something maybe better than you've seen at the early part of their career. They gain a little more experience. Their bodies change a little bit. The things that you're hoping to see a player develop into. But at some point, you kind of are what you are, right? And I think that's kind of where we are with Durant. That are you going to continue to kind of climb that ladder and be a better and better player from year 1 to year 2 to year 3? Or are you going to kind of settle in at one of those levels and I know what you got? Now, that doesn't mean you can't make a team. That doesn't mean that you can't play, but it also means that maybe we got to start looking at your position for somebody that might be a little better long term. You need depth, you need competency, and I think that a player like Durant can offer both of those. But if you're looking for high-level playmakers, I agree with you, Doug. Like this is a season for him to go make some plays and not just be a guy that you can survive with. And the Rams have a handful of survive with guys, especially in that part of their team, that they're not bad football players, but could you get a little better? Yeah, probably so. And the best way and the cheapest way to do that is through the draft. So I think you're right. I think Durant falls squarely into that. Hey, if we're going to use you going forward, I need to see you take your game to the next level. It doesn't have to be an all-pro level, but we need to see an improvement. And so far, he's kind of just been in that one spot for a few seasons. It really hasn't kind of jumped forward.
Yeah, Durant's kind of one of those guys where you look at that and you're saying, wait a minute, he's entering the final year of his rookie contract. I mean, time's just kind of flying with him. And then it's like, no, the time is now. You don't have the luxury of those years of development that it felt like you had. And overall, his coverage grade 61. That's 110 out of 222 cornerbacks. The run defense, 136 out of 222. So, I mean, he's very average-ish.
Yeah.
Ups and downs, high flashes make him tantalizing. But yeah, I mean, the use of the year to put it all together if you want to stay within this organization.
And I think that's it. Like there's a place for guys that are in the middle. There's a place for guys that are fine, and fine is never good. Fine is fine. Like, how did that taste? It was fine. You're not ordering it again. It says, oh, that's really good. You're going to order that again. And so far he's been fine. And if he wants to stay or if he wants to get a bigger role, it needs to go from fine to pretty good, or otherwise you're going to have a player come in through the draft at your spot and push you and maybe push you out the door, because fine is a little easier to find than really good. And so far he's just been kind of that middle of the pack guy. And with a second you get a little expensive at that middle of the pack price, they're going to move you out for somebody cheaper that can do the same thing.
They absolutely will, and we know that they're going to have all their eyes on that position because they know it's definitely a need. Now, moving to the next make or break, and disappointing first season with the Rams, tight end Colby Parkinson. I mean, just the production wasn't there. Just the catches weren't consistent. I mean, he ended up grabbing 30 of the 49 targets that were sent his way for 294 yards, had just one touchdown, and he had only one game this season where he had more than 4 receptions. Yeah. So, I mean, you look at 11 games, Colby Parkinson had a donut. I mean, this is a guy
that's a huge
over $22 million due as far as the commitment, and it just wasn't there. And he needs to, if he really wants to make him look like, hey, they didn't whiff on him, the time is now, 2025.
Yeah, this is not a perfect comparison, but I'm going to kind of roll it to the Lakers here for a second. And you can't be the guy that we forget you're out there every once in a while. And that was the big rub with Anthony Davis, right? It's not that Anthony Davis wasn't a great player frequently and hit very high highs, but there were a bunch of games where it's like, did AD even play tonight? And that was the rub. Now, I'm not comparing Parkinson to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a Hall of Famer. Parkinson is not. But there were just way too many. Did he play today? And like you said, those zeros that we're talking about, those happened way too frequently. He's fine. Like when they brought him over from Seattle, I was kind of he'd been in the league for a while and really hadn't made an impact. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Durant a second ago, where at some point you just kind of are what you are, that it's not going to a change of scenery, a different quarterback, a different scheme, or whatever it may be. It's not like you're just going to jump up. And I think that he may fall into that category. The Rams have been looking for that next tight end really, for a few seasons now. We really have never seen that breakout tight end. I know the everydayers have heard me say that for years. Parkinson has an opportunity, but I would be really surprised if all of a sudden you and I are in week, 8 or 9 or 10 going, wow, who blew my socks off this season is Colby Parkinson. I just have a hard time envisioning that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that's just kind of how he feels when he's out there, like a guy that you don't really talk about, a guy that really is someone that was supposed to be kind of relevant to the offense and just hasn't been. And look, I mean, I think that at the very least, I mean, to me, you kind of compare him to Anthony Davis. I compare him to Robert Sacre. Laker fans know what I'm talking about. I mean, one of the worst Lakers. Go look at his low light tape. I watch it all the time if I just want to feel better about myself and before I hoop. You know what I'm saying? But
you know what a good guy is like. Tutu's similar to this. Tutu's had a few, but there's just too many times where you don't even remember him participating in the game. That can't be the takeaway where, did he even play today? And that's the Parkinson experience, at least after year one. And Robert Sacre's blasphemy will not stand on Locked On Rams. I'm not going to allow it to happen.
I understand how Robert Sacre had a 1-inch vertical. Like, you know what I mean? Like, did you see him?
He's big, Doug. Cut the man some slack.
He was stuffed in a dunk contest overseas. I mean, geez, kind of like Mr. Clean a little bit too. All right, last breakout guy. This guy, I'm really, honestly, like one of the guys I'm most excited to see if he can turn into anything this next season is cornerback Emmanuel Forbes.
Yeah.
He was the former first-round pick of the Washington Commanders. The Rams, they took a flyer on him, but he only played 2 games before he ended up being cut by his old team, the Commanders. But no interceptions, had 5 tackles, had 1 pass defense. So he's someone that if he doesn't prove that he's worth it and can carve out a role, he could be a cut candidate. But this guy is really interesting. He holds the FBS record for 6 interceptions returned for a touchdown. It's a first-round pick. So the talent's there. Can the Rams develop that and get that out of him and have him realize his potential?
Yeah, I think that's the question, right? Is he a first-round talent? The Commanders took him in the first round, or was that just one of those, yeah, we totally blew the pick? And that's what the Rams are probably trying to figure out. There's no downside to the Rams to try to take a flyer on a player like that. There's no risk. They didn't spend their first-round pick on it, but this could be one of those. Yeah, he was picked in the first round, but he's actually like a 4th, 5th, undrafted free agent level NFL player. To your point, he scored a bunch of touchdowns and he has playmaking ability, but the eye test, he is a very small guy. He just is not a big, strong, powerful guy. He's an athletic guy, but you've heard me, and I'm biased. I know it. I'm aware of this particular bias. I do not like skinny NFL players. It just doesn't work nearly often enough. And I'll use this. This kind of goes back to some players we've seen with the Rams. If the team that gets to see you every single day says, no, bro, that's not a good sign, right? That doesn't mean that it can't work somewhere else, but somebody that's gotten to see you every single day and they don't use you or they can't play you, that always makes my eyebrows go up a little bit. Like, okay, what do they know that the rest of the league doesn't? Why did they move on? And to move on that quickly, I think is informative. We'll see. I'm optimistic of him getting a second or a third chance somewhere else, but Washington moved on from that guy in a hurry, and that's a red flag.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen this organization have success with some reclamation projects and kind of having their eye on talent, but he's definitely going to be a wild card for this team as far as their roster build. Coming up next, though, we're going to look at some positive. Who are the best first-round picks in Rams draft history? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
The NBA playoffs, we are almost here. We got a little play-in action starting tonight, and why not get started with FanDuel tonight? Because giving you, the new customer, an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and you place your first $5 bet, here's what you're going to get. $250 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. It makes betting so easy on FanDuel, whether it's picking your favorite team, a matchup that you like, or you can even go into the player props, which is a whole heck of a lot of fun as well. If you don't want to bet the whole team, just bet a guy, right? From 3-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props, and just go check out the Austin Reeves stuff. I'm just saying, just go check it out. And then after the game tips off, it gets even better. You can combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for your chance to win very, very big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. By the way, Travis, man, I'm sensing big NBA basketball vibes from you.
Yeah.
You got the playoff fever or what? Lakers going all the way? I mean, where are you at?
Okay, so if they beat Minnesota, which is it's basically a 50-50 proposition, I think they're going to go to the finals. I just don't know if they're going to beat Minnesota. Their path is set up. Seeing the way that they played against the Thunder in the couple of games towards the end of the season in Oklahoma City with the Thunder playing their guys, the Lakers blew them out once and probably at least give them a scare that second game if Luka doesn't kick out. I am as optimistic on the Lakers as I've been in a long time. And you can check out Locked On Lakers. My pal, the Kamenetsky brothers do a great job over there. But yeah, I'm fired up for the Lakers, Doug. I haven't been excited about a Laker team in 5 years the way I am about this one.
Man, Kamenetsky brothers got to watch out. They have 24 hours to respond, man, because that's some serious Lakers analysis. But yeah, I mean, if the T-Wolves, I mean, that's the thing about Anthony Edwards, man. If he's playing like the child support is due, you just never know. I mean, did you see that they were chanting child support?
The man likes a family. Apparently, he likes to make sure that he's got offspring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's run down those lists. We're going to stretch this for a couple episodes. And yes, we talked about the bust, and it's never fun to do that. But now it's kind of spin it, and we're going to talk about the best first round picks. And we're going to start all the way back in 1945 when the Rams took wide receiver Elroy Hirsch.
Crazy Legs.
There you go, with the fifth pick overall. His nickname was Crazy Legs. He played 12 years with the Rams in Cleveland and LA. In 1951, he was put up in the league. He had 66 grabs, 1,495 yards, 17 touchdowns. I mean, that's transcendent for the era. He made 3 Pro Bowls. He went to the Hall of Fame in 1968. So that's a name. The nicknames there, the numbers there. Give me a Elroy Hirsch right there.
Well, here's what I know. Like when we all start to become sports fans, you're never quite sure the thing that kind of grabs you, right? Is it the uniform? Is it the stadium? Is it the team that your dad likes or your older brother likes or whatever it may be? But I'm a big nickname guy. I'm a big guy that loves like something that goes, wait, what is that guy's name? And when the first time you heard Crazy Legs Hirsch, I'm like, I don't know who that is. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup, but I know that that's an incredible nickname. So I am here for all things Crazy Leg Hirsch. Anytime you've got a cool moniker, I'm your guy for it. So that's the extent of the knowledge I have about him. But the second you said Elroy, I'm like, I knew Crazy Legs was coming next. And
the cool thing too is that nickname was fitting. I mean, it's because he had an unusual running style.
Yeah.
His dad said that when he ran, it was his legs and the limbs are going 6 different directions. So yeah, it definitely was fitting that he was a Crazy Legs Hirsch. So yeah, we're going to continue to break down this list of best first round picks. We had to kick this thing off right with Crazy Legs Hirsch, and there's some more really good nicknames in this one, but
we need football to find more nicknames like baseball. Like baseball is by far the best sport when it comes. Boxing has some good ones too, but baseball, you go down any era, there's also, whether it's like 3-Finger Brown or you've got more modern, like the Big Hurt, the Big Unit Pronk. Like there's all sorts of great ones in baseball. So football needs to find the next version of Crazy Legs. Prime Time was pretty good too.
Yeah. I don't know if you know Oklahoma City, their new AAA affiliate there, the Oklahoma City Comets. It's about the Commerce Comet, Mickey Mantle. Sometimes
okay. I don't hate that. Commerce Comet's a good one too. Like baseball's better at that than anybody else.
Yeah. Or I like the Kyle Seager's nickname a couple years ago, just Corey's brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good one.
That's kind of messed up. You make it to the big leagues, and your name is Corey's brother. That would kill me.
Kyle Seager played like 12 years.
Yeah, exactly. He was good. He was a guy who hit some home runs.
Problem is, your brother is a World Series MVP ×2, and is, if he could ever stay healthy, might be a Hall of Fame level player. But yeah, Corey's brother's a pretty good nickname.
Definitely good. The Big Hurt's awesome though, for sure. The Big Hurt, I love the Big Hurt for sure. But yeah, we could do like the best nicknames. Best nickname list, that'd be awesome too. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And you can follow the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, at Travis Rogers. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.